LinkedIn is pretty amazing at helping you grow your small business. We cannot stop your new clients from emailing you at 3 a.m. We can help you sell, market, and hire in one place. We cannot help you be in 3 places at once. And while we can't help you organize your calendar, LinkedIn can help you land more clients so you have a calendar to organize. Grow your small business on LinkedIn. Learn more at linkedin.com/smallbusiness.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Welcome back to Fine Tuning with Drew Taylor, your one-stop shop when it comes to animation news and commentary. I am entertainment writer Jim Hill, and Mr. Taylor, whose writings in the industry you can regularly read over on The Wrap, and whose musings on the Mission Impossible movies you can still listen to on Light the Fuse, the official Mission Impossible podcast. He and I are recording this week's show on Monday, June 29th, 2026, and Mr. Taylor is literally just back from this year's Annecy, that international animation film festival, which is held annually over in France. This year's event was held June 21st through the 27th, and you got home Saturday night? Is that when you got back? Or
Yeah, Saturday... Yeah, at about, 5 o'clock p.m. So my time in Annecy, you got to add 8 hours, 9 hours to that. So it had started at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning in Annecy, and finally ended up there. I went from Annecy to Amsterdam, and then from Amsterdam to LA. So it was quite the odyssey, Jim. I gotta say, Matt Damon's got nothing on me at this point.
Well, there we go. And virtually no one-eyed giant CG monsters that you dealt with.
Not on this trip.
Okay. Now, I want to share something that Drew sent to me just yesterday to give you some idea of just travel wasn't a tough part of Annecy. This is Drew's work schedule while he was over there attending his event. He'd be up till 2 a.m. writing up stuff that he'd seen that day for The Wrap, then get up early the next morning, file all of the stories that he had seen for The Wrap at Annecy, then head off to screenings and presentations and interviews, and then, rinse, lather, repeat, because he came back and did that again. And what? Well,
it was funny because I would file things so early that no one would be on. So I would just say, well, I just put this up, so somebody needs to take a look at it when you sign on to the day. But yeah, that was my schedule. So screenings during the day, but then also watching screeners in the hotel room at night on my computer. Parties every day too. I think I did 3 in one night. I went from Leica to DreamWorks to Netflix. So a lot of shaking hands and kissing babies.
There we go. And in addition to this, Drew hosted 2 press conferences at the event and did 10 interviews. So again,
that's it.
And so that's why this week's edition of Fine Tuning will largely be about what Drew saw and did at this year's Annecy International Film Festival. But before we do that, we need to talk about this past weekend at the domestic box office. And of course, before we do that, we do need to acknowledge this podcast sponsor, which is unlockmagic.com. And if a Disney or Universal trip is anywhere on your radar for 2026, Unlock Magic helps you lock in great ticket prices without the stress, all handled by people who really know the parks, more importantly, know how to save you money. So if you're starting to think, okay, maybe this is the year we finally do head on down to Florida, head to Unlock Magic to grab the best ticket deals and make that future trip just a little bit more magical. And just a quick side note here as we before we get started here. You saw the Universal news this morning, right, about Comcast spinning off NBC Universal?
No, I did not. Tell me.
Well, in the great tradition of lighten the load, so to speak, evidently Comcast has decided that NBC Universal can step away from the Comcast mothership and become its own thing. Mind you, I guess Brian Roberts is going to, stay in charge of both of these now separate entities, but kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that.
So where do the parks fit in all of this?
I am trying to find out. This is how new news this is. The studios and television are definitely part of what's going away with NBC Universal. Can't find anything yet out about where the parks fit into all this. So going to be an interesting summer.
Wow.
Speaking of summer,
wow.
Of course, it's time for summer blockbusters, and Disney definitely got one of those with Pixar's Toy Story 5. Was number one at the box office this past weekend, second weekend in theaters at $70 million. With the, what was it? It was 160, I want to say, over its opening weekend. I mean, again, you were out of town. You don't have to pay attention to this stuff, but had a great opening weekend, the best for this franchise to date. As of right now, this Andrew Stanton film sits at a gross of $297 million domestic, supposed to slide over into $300 million sometime later today. And overseas, same movie has done $287 million, so it's at $585 million worldwide. What is that? That's $500 million 10 days into its run. And thanks to how well Hoppers and Devil's Wear Prada, and to a lesser extent how Mandalorian and Grogu have done, and then you factor in residual box office for Zootopia and Avatar: Fire and Ash, Disney was the first studio this year to earn $3 billion worldwide at the box office. So that's a good place to start the summer, right?
Congratulations, Disney.
All right. On the other hand, Warner Brothers. Well, look, this time last year when Superman, the Superman reboot came out, over its opening weekend, it did $125 million in ticket sales domestically. Supergirl, on the other hand, over its opening weekend, did just $38 million. Though one might argue putting this out in kind of the space between Toy Story 5 and Minions and Monsters, in hindsight, maybe not great programming. Yes, no?
Yeah, I don't get that. It's kind of like the death box. I don't know what would, break through in that
same thing here.
Kind of area.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
I just legitimately feel bad for these folks. But moving through the rest of the box office, Obsession continues to chug along, 7 weeks at the box office. But it's number 3 with $9.8 million in ticket sales in North America. The new, they call it the best and last Jackass film that came out this past weekend, $8.4 million. Disclosure Day, the Spielberg that you like so much, Drew, that's at number 5 now. It sold $8.1 million worth of tickets in North America. Box office stateside is 94.3. And then again, these horror films that don't necessarily cost all that much to make, but are definitely making box office. Backrooms was number 6. That had $4.3 million in ticket sales. Currently $184 million worth of tickets sold in North America. Then we have the parody scary, horror film, Scary Movies. That was number 7. And then we had, from our friends at Fathom, we had Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, The Calamity, which evidently did great business in New York and LA this past weekend. And then at number 9, we had Masters of the Universe. And I was kind of intrigued by the news that this is definitely getting a sequel, Drew.
I saw that online. I don't know where that came from. I mean, there's no actual sourcing on that.
Interesting.
And I would be very surprised if a movie that, has made $61 million and cost $200 reportedly will get a follow-up. I mean, I would be shocked, but
okay.
Stranger things have happened, Jim. I don't know if that's a play with Mattel or what, but yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I saw that too.
Yeah, that's what I think is intriguing about this. I think that's from what I've been told by friends in the industry, it's kind of the 1-2 punch of the different business model for Amazon, coupled with the fact that this was made with Mattel money, or a good chunk of it was Mattel's money, and they were hoping for a Barbie-sized hit. But they seem to, as it was explained to me, this is a Star Trek II situation. The first one lays the card down. The second one will make the money, which ironically enough brings us to Mandalorian and Grogu, which sits at number 10 at the box office. That had $1.6 million worth of ticket sales in North America, 6th week in theaters. 175 million in ticket sales domestically and another 150 overseas. So that's $325 million worldwide, which Drew, that's significantly lower than Solo, A Star Wars Story did back in 2018. Its worldwide gross was $392 million, and at the time there was a big deal made about that was the lowest grossing Star Wars film ever. What are you hearing from folks at Disney? Because everybody I'm talking with has immediately pivoted to talking about the Ryan Gosling movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where their sights are set. This was kind of we got to get it back in theaters at some point, and this is ready, and it's, not that expensive. I mean, this movie will still lose money. It just made back its budget domestically, which, as you and I know, the rule is that it's got to make 3 times its budget to actually turn a profit. And I don't know about you, Jim, but I have not seen a lot of people wearing Mandalorian and Grogu merch out there in the world. So it's still about $200 million off from turning a profit.
All true
at this point.
All true, but at the same time, whenever, what's interesting to me when talking with people at Disney about this is they are so quick to deflect about wait to see what happens in the fall when Mandalorian and Grogu is available for viewing on Disney Plus, how many minutes kids will watch this. They're also quick to point that, sort of the corona effect about how what's been happening with the other Star Wars related titles that are already on that streaming service, how their numbers have improved over the past 6 weeks or so. So I don't know. Again, it's just, I keep being told the math is different now. It's the very same thing I heard from folks in regard to Amazon and Masters of the Universe. The same things were being said to me about Mandalorian and Grogu, that it's a different world now, Jim, and catch up. So, though, also worth noting that as well as Toy Story 5 has done at the box office so far, there's a speed bump coming. In fact, it's this show will post on the very last day of June 2026, and the very next day, July 1st, is when Minions and Monsters opens. And this Illuminations film has currently projected to do 95 to 115 million over the 5-day long Independence Day weekend, and given Illuminations is always very, very good about managing a budget. And this one, basically cost half of what Mandalorian and Grogu cost to make. So, 85 million maybe? Is that what you've heard? Or
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've heard most of the movies cost less than 75.
Okay,
So,
okay.
I mean, even if it was 85, it would be like a big budget elimination movie at this point.
All right, there we go.
Which I love.
Now, speaking of which, this had its world premiere over at Annecy. You got to see this, right?
Yes, I did. I literally was like running from my flight to Minions and Monsters.
Okay.
And you know what? It was great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. So, yeah, it's really, really fun. And it's a great love letter to classic cinema.
Well, I wanted to bring that up because that's what I think, as somebody who's a fan of Hollywood history, this one set, the Minions arrive in Hollywood in the silent era. And not to give anything away, but what kind of trips them up, continuing to be this huge thing in Hollywood is the sound era when talkies come in and then suddenly, the Minions aren't really good with dialogue. But how did it play with the audience over at Annecy?
It was really great. I mean, like they all loved it. I mean, I've been in the audience at Annecy for other Illumination movies and, it's, as I wrote in my review, it's sort of like the closest they have to like kind of hometown heroes because MacGuff, the studio that became Illumination, is centered in Paris. All the animation is done in Paris. So a lot of the people were there at Annecy. It's just, it was a lovely experience to be there with the people that made it. And, everybody had a great time. It's a really fun movie. I would argue maybe the best of the Minions movies for sure. And one of the best in the entire Despicable Me franchise. So
that's so cool to
really
hear.
Good.
One quick note though, because face it, what was it? Despicable Me 3, I want to say, had that huge battle in modern day Hollywood, with the robotic.
That's right. I remember. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So again, that this has got to have been kind of interesting. Again, your hometown these days to see. There was modern LA recreated by the folks in France for Despicable Me 3. How did they do with recreating classic Hollywood from the 20s and thereabouts?
It's great because the Minions have this effect on classic cinema. So there's a great montage where they're kind of bumbling through the studio and all of these amazing shots from Charlie Chaplin and Harold Lloyd and, are being created by the Minions just screwing things up. Like, the building falling and him being in the doorway and all of these things. So, I mean, for children who love classic cinema, Jim, I mean, it's going to be a real thrill for them to see this.
All right. But again, for those of us who actually know and love Buster Keaton, the fact that somebody, at Illumination thought, let's reprise that gag from Steamboat Bill Jr.? No, that's great. That's great.
Yep.
All right. We'll tell you what, folks. This wasn't the only film that got its world premiere over at Annecy this year. And when we get back from this break, we're going to also talk about Forgotten Island. But before we do that, there's this. This episode is brought to you by Weight Loss by Hims. So, okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Or should I say, those of us who now feel pachyderm-like because of all the pounds we packed on over the past few years. Do you ever feel like your weight is holding you back? Because here's the thing, you don't have to feel that way. Weight Loss by Hims actually makes it easy to do something about those pounds. With Hims, you get a simple, personalized approach to weight loss with access to a range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen. Hims can connect you with a licensed provider who's 100% online, not to mention a care team that'll support you every step of the way. And if prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door, no insurance necessary. And if I might get personal here for a moment, I've been taking GLP-1 medications for over a year now, and they've helped me shed 50 pounds, which has made a world of difference in my life. So are you ready to reach your goals? If so, visit hims.com/tune to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/TOON. hims.com/tune. Weight Loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit hims.com. We thank them for sponsoring today's show.
This summer, Prime Video takes you back before Legally Blonde, before law school, and into the world of Elle Woods in high school. Set in 1995, this Gemini vegetarian knows exactly who she is until her family moves from Bel Air to Seattle. Packed with iconic fashion, 90s nostalgia, and a throwback soundtrack, Elle proves one thing. Law school was hard. High school was harder. From the world of Legally Blonde, watch Elle, a new original series only on Prime Video July 1st.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
And we're back. Okay, Drew, so we were talking about your crazy busy schedule at Annecy, and you mentioned that you moderated 2 press conferences. What were those for?
Yes, I did one for Minions and Monsters with Pierre Coffin, Chris Meledandri, and Brian Lynch, who co-wrote the movie with Pierre, and that was great. Then I did another one for Forgotten Island with Joel Crawford, Januel Mercado, and Mark Swift, the producer. And yeah, those were my two press conferences. I did that with a bunch of foreign journalists who I believe they were maybe Golden Globes voters, but
okay,
yeah,
that group. All right, well, all right,
yeah, a colorful bunch.
All right,
Jim.
so working from the stage with a whip and a chair. Okay, well, all right.
That's right.
Speaking of Forgotten Island, I mean, I was fascinated by the fact that here is this DreamWorks film, and again, coming out September of this year, right? Theatrically,
September 25th.
There we go. And so here it is, being shown to the animation community over in France, but a friend of the show, Jose, reached out over this weekend, and he lucked into an early screening of this down in Mexico City. And was talking about how, given the audience reaction there, this may be DreamWorks Animation's funniest film, but also heartwarming. And you've seen this. Most of this prior to actually seeing the full film, right?
No, I've seen the full film. So they screened it at CinemaCon this year, and I saw it around the same time. And I think this was a more final version, but they literally just finished the mix like last week up at Skywalker. So with a lot of the same people that actually worked on Ultraman Rising. So shout out to that team. So it's not completely done. I think there's like 2 weeks of animation still left to go. And then, yeah, it'll be in theaters on September 25th. So what was cool was they had a panel, a presentation at Annecy on Tuesday. And then at the end of the presentation, they said, oh, by the way, we're going to show the whole movie tomorrow at 8:30 a.m.
But I understand that everyone kind of lost their minds.
Yes, absolutely.
And then there was a mad scramble for tickets, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reaction the next day I heard was just rapturous. It was like a 5-minute standing ovation. Which does not happen as often as you'd think at Annecy. But They loved
Though
it.
that's what I think I find fascinating about what has been happening at Annecy over like the last 5 years. I mean, don't get me wrong. Previously, lots of news has broken out of Annecy, but it just seems like lately Annecy is where, and the majors, I mean, Disney's there, DreamWorks, Illumination are there, and never mind all of the stuff that Warner's unveiled at this year's.
So much stuff.
Yeah. But everybody now just, seems it's the end of June. Okay, let's get out of LA. Let's go lakeside in France and break all of this animation news. I mean, like, for example, look, Eddie Murphy himself leaked that there was a Donkey prequel in the works, and I how far back was that? I see where he was talking about it in 2023, but it was earlier than that when he first talked about they were going to do a Donkey movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've known about this movie for a long time. It's the great Charlie Bean is directing it. I hear it's awesome. I hear it's really, really great. And yeah, I mean, the timing of that was kind of weird, but basically an Illumination movie moved off that date. So Universal wanted to make sure that it was still theirs, basically. Okay. So they had to be like, wait, we've got something. Don't put anything else there, competing studios. So the timing was a little awkward because there was no like Shrek panel at Annecy or anything like that. It was just like, they just needed to kind of get the news out early. But I'm so happy to see that it's actually happening and that everybody's still there and ready to put this movie out. I'm excited.
Quick question, though. You just mentioned, again, there was no Shrek 5 panel at this year's Annecy, but of course the trailer, hit while you were away. And again, I know it's social media, so it's, people get clicks, if they say bad things, but were you kind of surprised at what people were saying about this trailer, especially the new toonier look for the characters?
I mean, people are going to complain about it. I thought that trailer was great. I thought it was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I kept meaning to reach out to friend of the show, Josh Gad, to see, did you see the Olaf joke? What'd you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about it. I think he dug it. I thought that was very funny. Would you want to date a snowman?
Yeah, it's like, what was the old Snow White joke? That she used to be Snow White, but then she drifted. That snowman looked very, very drifted.
Yes.
Anyway, we were just talking about Warner Brothers and all the stuff that they announced also at Annecy, and Gennady Tartakovsky, Conan the Barbarian. Oh my God. How long has this been in the works?
He first pitched it in 2008, so it's been in the works for a while.
Wow.
It's only his second IP that he's worked with since Star Wars. So, I mean, this is just perfect. I mean, I cannot wait. It's coming to Prime Video in the future. Who knows when exactly?
All true. All true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, both Warner Brothers Animation, which is the TV division, and then Warner Brothers Pictures Animation, which is the film division, both had a lot of great announcements, as well as them premiering Batman Nightfall Part 1, which I watched and really enjoyed.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a great year. I mean, all the DC stuff, a show being developed out of Absolute Batman, which is like a really hot comic book right now. They're doing an anime on the Joker about after Batman has been killed, the Joker goes and tries to interrogate all the other villains to see who did it, because he was supposed to be the one to kill Batman. I mean, just a lot of fun stuff for sure.
Let's forget about your pal as well with the a new Adventure Time with Marceline and Princess Bubblegum.
That's right. Adam Miro is doing that. Who is a long time. He took over after Penn left on the main line show, and Yeah, there was that. There was so much DC. I mean, Warner Brothers stuff. In the main film presentation, they showed stuff from Hello Kitty, and they showed the first 17 minutes of Cat in the Hat.
Oh, how did that go over?
It went over really well. The animation is super charming by D-Neg, and the music is great, and Bill Hader is a lot of fun. It's interesting to see how many animated things this year kind of played off the themes that were introduced in Toy Story 5 of kids who are addicted to their screens and not their own imagination. The opening of Cat in the Hat is he goes in and it's a rainy day, just like the book, and the kids are just on their screens, and he has to really charm them, Jim, to get them off of their devices to engage in his madness. I cannot wait for Cat in the Hat. They should have just shown the whole movie, but, that's neither here nor there.
Well, they had so much stuff that they had. But also, speaking of, folks who came with a lot of stuff to share, Netflix. I have to tell you, from what I'm hearing about the One Piece reboot, the anime, people seem to love how that turned out. Likewise, the notion of a canon Ghostbusters Night Shift, sort of filling in between the original Ghostbusters films and the newer ones, and even what folks are saying about Charlie versus the Chocolate Factory.
I was really impressed with all of what Netflix did. I mean, what's interesting about these giant companies, Jim, is you have to go to like 5 panels to actually get all the stuff. It was like next on Netflix, animation, and then adult animation, and then an Alley Cats presentation with Ricky Gervais where he showed the first 2 episodes, which are hilarious, Jim. Alley Cats, the new Ricky Gervais animated show, literally will make you cry with laughter. It's so funny. But, I thought Charlie versus the Chocolate Factory looked really good. It's set after Wonka gets out of prison for turning a little girl into a blueberry. And this kind of streetwise kid decides that he's going to make it rich by stealing the golden ticket in what he thinks is a deserted chocolate factory, Jim. But Wonka is back, and it's a little menacing, and it sort of captures that, because doll books have a little edge to them that sometimes get sanded down.
No, that they very much have an edge to them.
Yes.
So, I love that, that's what they decided to lean into. So,
and then of course the big centerpiece of the Netflix presentation was 15 minutes of Ray Gun and then a conversation between Brad Bird and Peter Lord. Sorry. Let me say that again. Sir Peter Lord, Jim.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So what was, face it, there are those of us who have been waiting 30 plus years for this movie. And Annecy is an event that draws some of animation's biggest fans. So what was their reaction to finally getting to see Ray Gun, or at least some of Ray Gun, up on the big screen?
Yeah, I think the reaction was really strong. I think the conversation was maybe a little bit more low-key than they needed it to be. But still very interesting. You're talking about 2 titans of the medium chatting. But the first 15 minutes really beautifully sets up the world of Ray Gun. It's buildings that are 2 miles tall and aliens and flying cars and all of the kind of stuff you want wrapped up in a 1930s style aesthetic, with people like Teddy Newton and, Tony Fucilli doing design work, Jim. So, absolutely stunning stuff. Nessa Beauvais doing costumes, really incredible stuff. But it kind of cut off right as the mystery was heating up. So that was kind of...
Well,
you've been to enough long lead days, Jim. They cut it off right when you wanted to keep going.
Rosebud is his blank. Just sort of, like, right. Come back, see the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
All right. But again, a low-key conversation between Sir Peter Lord and Mr. Bird, yes?
It could have used a little bit more energy, but, who am I to give notes to two of the great, animation directors, the great directors, period, of our time. So, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, but there's even more that was shown and talked about at this year's Annecy. And when we get back from this break, we'll pivot to what the Mouse and Pixar revealed at this year's event. But before that, there's this.
The 2-week pay period, invented in 1938 and still making us wait until daily pay, where everyone can access their money on demand. This is the future of pay. Learn more at dailypay.com. Transfer fee may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
And we're back. So we saw what Warner Brothers is up to. We saw what DreamWorks and Illumination showcased at Annecy this year. Not to mention Netflix. But, of course, there's Disney and there's Pixar. And so Pixar side of the fence was mostly Gato. Was that correct?
Yeah, it was mostly Gato. What was interesting about Disney and Pixar is they focused on one feature and one short. And the feature was an original and the short was a IP. And I wonder if this is kind of going to be the model going forward, where to hedge their bets on original titles.
I am so glad you brought that up. Yes, I mean, I could, the fact that these shorts were paired with two original films, and again, and more to the point, IP-based shorts. So Gato is being paired with a Finding Nemo short, and called Loving Dory. Is that the name?
Loving Dory. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And they showed this basically in storyboard form, or
yeah, they showed the first 2 minutes basically. So there was some finished animation. And they didn't explicitly say that it was with Gato, but it was like, where else is this thing going to go? So, you know. And then Hext, they confirmed, will be paired with a short that... What was the short? God, my brain is so...
Lilo and Scratch.
Lilo and Scratch. Okay. Let's talk about Lilo and Scratch, because I thought they showed... a few minutes of that too, and I was absolutely amazed by how 2D the whole thing looked, because they tried to recreate a shot from the original movie with these new techniques, and it was almost one for one, and then they hit a button, and the Lilo and Stitch characters kind of did a 3D rotation, and they were 3D characters, but they looked perfect. And there was another test shot they showed where Stitch was interacting with Scratch, and Stitch was a 3D character, and Scratch was a 2D character, and there was no difference, including a moment where there's like a laser gun that passes in between them that went from a 3D model to a 2D drawing of that laser gun. I mean, it was crazy. And of course, Scratch, who is a little kitten that they adopt, is also an alien. So there's all sorts of insanity involving those two, scrapping it up.
All right. I did not know that. All right. Yes. But what's interesting about this, folks, is this is kind of an old playbook for Disney. In fact, when Drew finally does his book about Disney in the 80s and the 90s, you'll talk about, like, for example, Dick Tracy, and was that Roller Coaster Rabbit that that was in front of that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the famous cause of the falling out between Disney and Spielberg back in the day. That's why we never got our second Roger Rabbit feature, because what is it? Spielberg wanted Roller Coaster Rabbit in front of the Amblin movie, Arachnophobia, right?
Yes.
And Katzenberg was, no. We're going to have trouble enough getting people to come out for this Warren Beatty movie. It goes in front of that thing.
Yeah. The third one was in front of an Amblin movie.
But Walk Home, what was the name of that?
Faraway Place.
Faraway Place.
Faraway Place.
Yeah. And by then the ship had sailed. But yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I am very intrigued by Disney doing this now. And especially when you think about these days, what a big deal it is. How every trailer is only in theaters. And so something like this, that, just that little bit more incentive. You want to see a brand new Finding Nemo short? You want to see Lilo and Stitch in 2D back in the big screen? You got to come out for Gatto, or you got to come out for Hext. And I have to ask though, how did the crowd at Annecy, how much of Hext did they show?
They showed a good amount. I mean, they showed a few completed scenes, and then they kind of walked us through the storyline of it, which is, this little girl exhibits powers, kind of supernatural powers from a young age, and her mother puts a little bracelet on her with a rock that dampens her powers, essentially, which is why when in the trailer, when you see her bracelet fall off in that scene in the bathroom, that's when her powers start to kind of manifest themselves. And she discovers this world called Hex, which is a kind of safe haven for witches throughout history. It started during the witch trials.
1620s.
And so, she goes into this crazy world, and she has a kind of anthropomorphic cauldron named Bucket, who is her kind of pet. And she meets this three-eyed cat, kind of Yoda type guy. And it just looks really, really fun. And the world is really vivid and unique. And I cannot wait to see more.
Okay.
I was sort of like, I wanted to make sure everything was cool with Hex, and it looks really great. And then, Gatto in the Pixar presentation just stole the show. Enrico is like one of the best, I think, and him telling the story of a black cat who is kind of, everyone is so afraid of him. They're very superstitious. He doesn't really care about much. And he works for a cat gangster who's obsessed with cat-related art, of course. And he sends Nero, the little black cat, to steal a cat-headed violin from a young girl. And he, of course, Jim, ends up actually enjoying being a pet to her. And so this is the kind of emotional crux of the movie. Is he going to get out of the game by stealing this violin and giving it to this gangster, or is he going to defy what he's supposed to do and find happiness with this young girl? So, which is very cute. And so you're just going to have to make space on the cat tree, Jim, is what I'm saying, for Nero.
I already let Nancy know, and I'm assuming we'll be able to get Nero, as well as there'll be a plus version of the gangster cat and all of that stuff.
Rocco,
so.
Yeah, but the style, what I liked about the Gatto presentation is it really went into the technical advances of this movie, which everything looks painterly, the brushstrokes, I love this bit where when his body parts or whiskers or whatever are against his body, there's like a blue outline to the drawing, and they had to design this whole program so that when a body part is in front of his body, that the line will appear. There's just stuff like that, Jim, that those of us who are real nerds really appreciate.
That's so cool.
It's really cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, honestly, we've really just scratched the surface of what Drew saw and participated in while he was over at Annecy. And if you want to learn more about what went down in France between June 21st and June 27th, animation-wise, you really want to head over to the Wrap and read the giant piles of stories that Drew wrote until 7 o'clock in the morning. to me 2 a.m. and then filed it at 7.
2 a.m. and then I woke up at 7 to file them. Yeah,
there we
exactly.
go. So, but yeah, head on over to the Wrap and check those out. Before we close out this week's show, though, did want to take a moment to express our condolences to the friends and family of Daveigh Chase. Is that how we pronounce the name? We were talking about, of course, Lilo and Stitch. What with Lilo and Scratch the short that'll be coming out next year, and Ms. Chase was the original voice actress for Lilo in the 2002 hand-drawn version of Lilo and Stitch, and we lost her just in the past week or so at the far too young age of 35. Just a horrible way to lose somebody. It was bacterial meningitis and a blood infection.
We also need to give our condolences to the family of Mexican illustrator Luis de la Rosa, who passed away at Annecy.
Oh no, that's right.
He was struck by an express
I saw
train.
that story.
Yeah.
I mean,
he worked on Across the Spider-Verse, Space Jam: A New Legacy. He was on Knights of Guinevere, my friend Dana Terrace's upcoming series. Just so much stuff. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, My Dad the Bounty Hunter. A really talented guy who really a lot of people loved very deeply. And I kind of learned about this on my way out of Annecy and was just heartbroken for him and his family. And for the festival, it's such a joyous celebration of the medium. And to have this kind of happen during the conference is really horrible and sad. So
it is. Oh, the one quick note, I know I have mentioned previously that I ordered a copy of the Knights of Guinevere, what is it? The making a book of the pilot just arrived here at the house, Drew, and oh my God, so worth the wait. Great book. They did a super job. Can't wait to see the rest of the series just based on this. And I'm sure if I circle back through this thing, I'm going to see a lot of your friends' work in there.
There you go.
Well, anyway, on that note, and by the way, if you want even more Drew Taylor, I want to remind you there is, of course, Light the Fuse, the official Mission Impossible podcast. That's the show that Drew and his co-host, Charles Hood, recorded nearly 300 episodes of. And in fact, I'm going to be driving down to Philadelphia later this week to go check out the Universal exhibit at the Franklin Institute. And Drew will be with me along with Charles the whole way. I'll be working my way through another slab of shows. So, and speaking of podcasts, we got a bunch of them here at Jim Hill Media. We hope you'll check out Disney Dish with Len Testa, the Epic Universal podcast. That's the one I do with Eric Hersey. Likewise, I Want That Too. In fact, I'll be recording a brand new episode of that with Eric's bride, Lauren, later today. And of course, we have our newest show, The Case For with Chris Cox. And then over on Patreon, we'll be recording on Wednesday a brand new episode of Disney Unpacked. That'll be me and Len and veteran Imagineer Jim Schull. We'll be talking about It's a Small World. And then sometime after that, Mr. Taylor will be joining us on the show to talk about Pixie Hollow. Is that right? You'll be coming on for that one? Or
Oh, yeah. Toon Studios.
Toon Studios,
yeah.
There we go.
Got to talk about Toon Studios. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. As we close out here, folks, a quick favor to ask, if you please head on over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review, well, not just this show, but also Light the Fuse. Also, I would imagine after just getting off a plane, you don't have anything on the books, panels or moderating wise, but just in case, anything folks out in LA can maybe see you doing in the next week to 10 days, Drew, or
not anytime soon. No, I'm taking off a few days, thank God, for the break, for the holiday. Okay. So yes, I will be recharging my batteries, but I'll be back.
Okay, but if they
I'll be
want to
back.
keep tabs on what you're up to, obviously they need to be, keep an eye on you social media-wise, and where can they do that?
They could do that at Drew Tailored, like a tailored shirt on Instagram and X. And Jim, where can people find you?
Let's see. I am on Instagram and X as Jim Hill Media, and then over on Facebook as Jim Hill Media News. And with that, folks, on behalf of Mr. Taylor, I want to thank you for listening to this edition of Fine Tuning, and we will be back next week.